easily have, a circle of connections in any way that you want, right? But versus in the past, you actually have to spend the time and be physically with your friends, hang out with them in order to make that circle of friends, in fact, a circle of friends, right? But today, with just touch of a button, you can easily interact with anybody that you like. But what's going on beyond the person, right? So that brings up the topic of doing a little bit, being a little bit more cautious in terms of who do we hang out and how do we hang out with, right? It doesn't mean again to go back and live in a solitary. Right? I don't want to say go to the extreme. Right? It's just a matter of being cautious about everything that we do, especially in this month. Another ayah which actually backs up this topic is the famous ayah which I think everybody knows. Ya ayyuhal insan, innaka kadihun ila rabbik kadhan famulaqih, right? O mankind, indeed you are laboring toward your Lord with great exertion and will meet it one day, right? In this verse, Allah talks about Ya ayyuhal insan, right? Meaning that He's talking generally. He's not talking about Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, right? He's talking Ya ayyuhal insan. Whoever we can use the term insan on, whoever we can use this label for, Allah is talking to him, right? إِنَّكَ كَادِحٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا فَمُلَاقِيهِ, right? You are going towards, your Lord. You're going back towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When He says you are going towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is He referring back to our body or is He referring to our soul and nafs? Right? If He's referring to our body, that in a way becomes a shirk because our body is a physical body, right? I don't know, in 2 or 3 years, in how many years the entire cells that we have in the body gets changed, if I'm not correct me, please, right? So we know that even pointing at the body, like for example, right now at this time, I'm saying I'm giving this lecture, right? The next year, inshallah, right? If something happens, if I come here again, if I point at myself and say, Shaikh Ehsan, on the very same name as last year I was giving this lecture, right? Somebody can actually make a doubt in that one. What they can say, they can say, no, you are not the same Shaikh Ehsan, because the Shaikh Ehsan who was here last year, right? The molecules were different. It's not the same molecules, right? You may look the same, but these are the second type of molecules, right? So basically you cannot point to the new body and refer it back to what you had said with the previous body, right? So that's why we say no, all of this matter of reference, it goes back to the topic of the soul, the reality, to the thing that is beyond this physical body, right? So when Allah says you are on a journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya ayyuhal insan innaka kadihun ila rabbika kadhan famulaqih, meaning that He's talking about the soul that is on the journey and going back towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this journey is not an easy one. Kadihun, right? Kadihun, if I want to give it a layman term, it means to find your way and break your way through like a solid or through like a brick, right? To find a way through something that is very firm, right? That's the meaning of kadihun, meaning you have to struggle for it, you have to strive for it, you have to try so hard for it, right? إِنَّكَ كَادِحٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا فَمُلَاقِيهِ. So from this, usually when it comes to the Islamic ideology, they divide the different levels of a human to 3 parts. They say the very first part is the body that we see, right? The body that grows, the body that ages, right? So there is no doubt about that. The second part is the realm of our thoughts or our imaginations. They call it alam al-mathal, right? The imaginary or the imagery, realm. And the third one is what they call it the alam of ruh, right? The realm of soul or spirit. 3 stages according to the 3 levels that every human has. And then they give an example. They say when we talk about the 3 levels within the human, doesn't mean for example we have 3 people in the same room, right? Right now we're all sitting here, everybody's next to each other. So we can say so many people in one room. They say no, this is not the example we use, right? And also we cannot say, for example, if you have a cup of tea, you put a spoon in a cup of tea and you put the cup of tea, for example, in a bigger dish. So the spoon is in the tea and the tea is in another, for example, in the cup, right? So no, this is not an example again because they have their individual identity and they're separate from each other. They're not with each other, right? They usually give an example of a nut, like a walnut or like an almond, right? The walnut, when you look at it, it has the body which you can eat, right? The very same walnut, when you squeeze it, the oil comes out, right? And from the oil you can get the concentration of the walnut, right? So it's all 3 within each other as it's part of each other. Of course, this is an example, because this example has a couple of flaws as well. Number one, the walnut, which is the body itself, has severity over the oil, right? And the oil has severity over the concentrate. Versus in human, completely opposite. Meaning the soul has a severity over our mind, and the mind has severity over the body. Right? This is one. And number two, when we talk about the walnut and the oil and the concentration of the walnut, right? We talk about them being within each other, as if like they're part of each other. So when you dissect walnut, you can get to the oil. When you dissect the oil, you can get to the concentration. But for human body, it's not the same. Meaning no matter how much the technology grows and we continue to dissect more and more the human body, we can never find the matter of soul within the human body, right? It is a spiritual matter again, right? So that's the difference between this example and the topic in which we talk about in religious teachings. Recite a salawat, please. So, giving this example, let's go back to our topic. The similarity between death and sleeping. I gave the example last night. The best example for death is actually our sleep. So they say what happens when we go to sleep? The attachment between the soul and body becomes weak. When it becomes weak, that means the soul finds a place, finds a room, finds a chance to focus on other stuff. That's why sometimes we have dreams, right? And that's why in dreams a lot of stuff could happen. It's like instant, like in a movement. In the physical world, if you have to go from point A to point B, you have to go by a means of transportation. Either walk, get a taxi, get a cab, or do something, right? We cannot be at the same time in this place and all of a sudden be, for example, all the way, in the Middle East at the same time, right? But in your mind, right as you are sitting here, which a lot of people may actually do, once they sit at the lecture, and their mind is everywhere else beside being at the lecture, right? Just similar to the way that we pray. One of the guys was saying, Shaykh, I don't know what to do. The minute I say Allahu Akbar for the prayer, I focus on everything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which has to be opposite, right? One of the guys, I think it was Shaykh Ehsan, he goes and he sees one of his famous arafah, and then he asks, the author asks him, how do you offer your prayer? So Shaykh Ehsan replies, is like, when I offer my prayer, I make sure I put my focus on how I pronounce the phrases of the surah and the zikr, right? And I tend to focus on the meanings of the ayahs of the Quran. That arif looked at Shaykh Ehsan and says, so when do you actually pray? Oh, that's Shaykh Ehsan, right? Sometimes, so what do you mean? Says, I mean, like when you actually pray, you pray to talk to Allah, you pray to concentrate on Allah, you pray to make connection to Allah, right? But all you're thinking is thinking about how to pronounce and what's the meaning of the ayah. So where is Allah in this equation? Right? So now how do we pray? When we say Allahu Akbar, do we remember everything that we have forgotten on that day? Do we remember every missing items from our to-do list? Or no, we actually focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there comes the criterion, right? When the Quran says As-salatu tanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkar, right? And then we see that, mashallah, in the world, how many billions of Muslims we have? 1.4, 1.7, I think, billion Muslims, right? So, as-salatu tanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkar. The Quran has said this, right? That the salat, the praying, is going to prevent the person from committing evil actions. Let's be general about it. How come we have 1.7 billion Muslims in the world? And mashallah, they all offer salat, right? You can see during the Hajj, they all circle around the Kaaba. Very organized salat, right? At the same time, we see so many statistics of crimes. How does this work? Meaning that there is a problem here, right? The salat is not the salat that it has to be. It's not the salat which has to move the person, right? Because salat has different parts into it. Yes, the typical appearance of salat is facing the qibla, for example, placing the 7 parts of your body on the ground as you do sujood, and all the ahkam that we know. There is this inner part to it, right? If that inner part is not there, as if you're just following and just copying a specific act. So that's why they say when you stand up for salah, as you make the intention, right? And the very first thing which is wajib is the intention of salah, right? Then all 3 stages of human has to face the qibla, meaning the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our body has to face the Kaaba. Our mind has to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and put aside all of the random thoughts, right? And our heart or our soul should focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and put aside all of the different feelings that we may actually get when we stand up for prayer. So you can see what kind of effect would this salat have for us versus the normal salat that we may just stand up and face the bed and say Allah Akbar and try to finish it and then get to the iftar, right? So we can see the difference, right? So that's why we have to focus on the matter of such as eschatology. The more we understand how we are, the more we understand how would the teachings of religion actually benefit our own self. And of course, every person likes to do something that will be beneficial for him or her. This is just a natural law, right? Because one of the great speakers, he was saying that the problem of humanity perhaps is not the matter of believing in God or not. If you again take statistics, out of the 7 billion in the world, I think close to 5 point something or close to 6 billion of the people in the world, maybe you can say even all of them, they believe in some sort of a spiritual, higher being, right? Some in terms of religion, some in terms of individual faith, as they call it, right? They believe in some sort of a higher power, right? We call it Allah, they call it God, they have different names when it comes to religion. And those who have faith, right, at the end of the day, they believe in something. Sign for it, when the airplane wants to go down. What happens? You see everybody's trying to pray to something. They're trying to find a way out of it, right? So it's not a matter of believing in God or not. It's a matter of, bringing that belief and putting it into the practice, right? When we cannot put it into practice, that means we have missed it, we have missed the point here, right? We believe that there is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we have forgotten about ourselves. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a creator, then how are we, connected to Allah? What's the relationship between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If I'm speaking, if I'm talking, if I'm walking, how is this related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The monotheistic lifestyle, right? Anyway, so we recite another salawat. Now we have, again, let me just give you a couple of cases, because I know after iftar usually people get tired a little bit. The food is getting, all the energy is focused on the digesting of the food, so I try to give more stories to that, inshallah. So there is this young fella, and he's one of, again, the pious ones, right? He says that I went for the ziyarat of Imam Reza for a couple of days, right? Those who have gone to the shrine in the past days, they know. In the past days, there wasn't any specific place where the people who would go there to actually rest at the shrine. These days it's a little bit changed, but in the olden days, right? So he said I made the intention to go there for a couple of days, right? But as I went to the shrine, I did not enter the holy shrine. I was, I told myself that I do not have the ma'rifah of the Imam, right? So I do not allow myself to enter unless if Imam gives me the true ma'rifah, then I would enter his shrine. Very smart way of praying, right? So he, very respectfully stood outside of the door of the holy shrine, right? And he was doing his ziyarah from outside of the holy shrine, right? It was in the dark night. It was actually the night before Friday, such as tonight, right? And it became cold. So he went to the Gohar Shah courtyard, the Sahih Gohar Shah, right? As you all know, they have Shabastan. Shabastan is those rooms which they have for people who actually, want to stay up all night and do the prayers and stuff. So he went there and, he was continuing his ibadah, right? During his ibadah, he fell asleep. When he fell asleep, right, he saw Imam Reza in his dream. He said that Imam approached me, and with the tip of his toe, he poked me a couple of times as I was falling asleep. And he told me, get up, get up, get up, 3 times. He told me nothing will be given to you free without working for it, right? Meaning that you have to actually work for what you pray for. If you want to do ma'arifah, you have to work for it. They're not just going to give it to you as free, right? So the minute he said this one, right, I wanted to throw myself at Imam's foot and I wanted to kiss Imam's foot, but Imam withheld me. He says, what are the stuff you're doing, right? And then I woke up. Realized I was sleeping. I went, I did the wudu again. I went back to the Shabastan. I started doing the dua qamain, right? During the dua qamain, I felt sleepy again. I fell asleep, right? One more time. This time, another person came to me, right? He was a person very bright, again, very pious person, and his beard was was actually colored with henna. It was like a reddish, henna-ish color, right? So he approached me, he said, Salaam alaikum, I said, Salaam alaikum, and it was like this instant connection, right? As if I knew him for thousands and thousands of years, right? And he told me, do you want to go and look around? I said, okay, let's go look around. He took my hand, we started going. But the way we were going, one step we would take, as if like you would take like, kilometers and kilometers in one step. So we went through the whole like the planet of Earth. We would go through the cities, right? We could see the people of the cities. And I could see among the people of the cities, which ones are good, which ones are bad, right? We said we went through the whole city, and then we went to Saudi Arabia, we went to Mecca, we did we did the Tawaf, we went to Medina, we offered the ziyarat of the Rasulullah, we offered the ziyarat of the Baqi, we went to Najaf, we went to Karbala, we went to Kazim, we went to Samara, we did all the ziyarats, right? Then he took me towards the skies. We went towards the skies, I saw the angels, I saw the heaven, I saw all the bounties of the heaven. And he says it's undescribable, all the bounties that it was there. Then he just took me quickly over the hell. We just breezed through the hell for just like a split of a second. And I saw like how severe are the punishments of the hell, right? After all of this happened, he asked me, now, would you like to return back to where we at? I told him yes, let's go back. And I was thinking that it has taken like, at least a couple of hours for all of this journey, right? As we were coming back, he told me, don't be shocked. All of this took only 5 minutes. I asked him, 5